Hey guys, in today's video, we're going to talk about how you transition from the top of your backswing with the arms and hands to both shallow the club and add speed to your downswing. All right guys, so let's talk about how the arms and hands work from the top of the backswing into the transition phases and how we want to use those arms and hands to both shallow the club and to add speed. So I'm going to take my setup position here and demonstrate some things here. Now, if I go up to the top of my backswing here, what I really want to focus on in this video is what I do with my arms and hands relative to my body. Now, the first point I want to make is that this whole thing in your downswing is a timing thing. It's a sequence thing, meaning from the top of my swing, it's a race essentially between how quick my body rotates and how quick I pull my hands down, or how fast I do either of them. So both of these at the top are in a certain spot. I have a race, how quickly can I turn my hips relative to how quick I pull my arms and hands down. And there is no question about it that if we want to shallow the shaft and hit the ball farther, we want the lower body or the rotation pieces to win that race, not the arms and hands. What I see with a lot of people, unfortunately, who struggle with a steep shaft, who can't shallow the shaft no matter what they do and who don't hit it far enough, or when you record yourself and it looks like you don't have enough rotation, really for a lot of you, the issue is that your arms and hands are coming down too quickly. Let me demonstrate that. So if again, I'll go up to the top and sort of pause here. Now, if I had a normal swing, or sort of a powerful downswing with a lot of speed and shallow the shaft, the idea would be my lower body, my pelvis is beginning to rotate and my arms and hands are not coming down super fast. My arms and hands are only coming down as a reaction to my body pivoting. On the opposite of that would be if I go up to the top, my arms and hands pull down really quick here like this before I even rotate, right? Imagine if you're filming yourself and you're trying to get that look of, you know, the hips are 40 degrees open, you can see two butt cheeks, whatever. And if you go up to the top and your arms and hands fire down so fast, you don't give yourself enough time to even turn. Even if you have enough rotation, sort of degrees per second, your arms and hands are down so fast in front of you that you don't have enough time to get open. And the opposite would be true. If I really wanted to be as open, as rotated as humanly possible, when I go up to the top, well, I would want to have my hips turning, have my pelvis turning, bell buck toward target, and essentially feel like I leave my arms and hands at the top, or that I don't do anything with them. I'm certainly not trying to pull down from the top at all. One other little piece from down the line that you want to look for, if you watch really good players and watch their rotation, by the time their left arm gets parallel to each other during the downswing, the knees are more or less in line with the target. What I mean by that is, if I go from the top of my backswing and I get down, so I'd be a little bit longer than that, and I get down to here, by the time my left arm is parallel to the ground, hand sort of in line with the right pec, my knees will be back to parallel to the target. If I were a guy who goes up to the top and I pull my arms down really quick, you'll see during your downswing, your knees are still pointed well to the right, just meaning you didn't have enough of the early rotation. All right, so just a couple of things from face on that you would expect to see with these moves. If I were to go up to the top of my backswing and I have the pattern where my arms and hands were to come down sooner relative to my lower body rotation, a lot of times that'll be associated with a very steep or narrow, more specifically, angle between the club and my body. From 2D, that looks like really cool lag there, but the problem is when I flip this way, that shaft then gets super steep from here, and then I have this super narrow transition, which I have to do something to shallow at the bottom. Usually what you'll see with the players who do a good job from the top of rotating and leaving your arms and hands up there is that also gets associated with more width, meaning the arms and hands stay farther away from my body. A lot easier to produce a swing direction and angle of attack at the bottom is going to produce really powerful shots. All right guys, so I want to show you a little bit about this downswing move in terms of how the arms and hands work for these rotation pieces. So Jake's with me. Jake's going to go up to the top of the backswing and pause. Now the idea here, and it's easier if you have a second person, so we grab Jake here quick, is when you do the downswing piece, if I put a hand or an object against the butt of the club, he should be able to make his initial downswing move, and the butt of the club should not press against my hand at all. So go ahead, Jake, demonstrate your downswing move. Good. So do you see what happened there like that? Take your normal setup, go up to the top, do that one more time, just pause at the top. So his feels from here, do it again, so don't press against, yeah. So he should feel a sensation of this knee, this, and this pelvis going down and around, right? Yeah, and this, as he's doing that, isn't pressing against my hand at all. That's the feels that you need to use. I'm gonna show you a little bit with a wall or a post, but do that one more time, Jake. Right there, those are the sensations that you need to feel to win the race of the arms coming down versus the body rotating. If you do that one more time, that feel right there is what we're looking for from the top. Don't push that butt of the club into the hands, into the object. All right, guys, so a couple other ways to feel the same thing here. I have a post. You can use any kind of wall for this, is perfectly fine. The idea here, again, about the lower body winning the race. If I take a wall here and I preset my left arm parallel position and I put the butt of the club right up against a wall or a post, the idea is, as I go from there during my downswing from here, I want to feel like the butt of the club isn't pressing against the post at all as I begin my rotation pieces. What I feel from here as I go is that my left pelvis, my left knee, and my left hip are all working around without my arms and hands doing anything from the top. You can really do the same feel if you just grab the club with your left hand, you go up to the top, you put your right hand against it, and you begin the downswing phases, and you don't want to feel like your left hand's pushing down the butt of the club on your right palm from the top. Again, feeling those lower body moves, initiating the downswing phases. That's how you increase the rotation. That's how you shallow the shaft from the top. I'm gonna do just what is a normal swing here on the first one for me, and then I'm gonna go through each one of those examples. So here's about a stock example for me of a normal swing. Okay, and that to me feels basically in sequence. Now what I want you guys to do for this first part is to have the sensation that you are at the top of the swing, your arms and hands are staying at the top, sort of leaving them where they are, and or at minimum, they're not pulling them down as fast. You definitely are not looking to have any sort of sensation from the top that you're trying to pull your arms and hands down at all. That is bad news. So up to the top, here's me exaggerating. This is what I'm gonna feel here. I'm gonna go up to the top. I'm gonna feel like my arms and hands stay up there, my pelvis and my lower body is rotating to begin the downswing, almost as if my arms and hands aren't doing anything. Here's this feel. Good, and sort of the same deal. So that feels like I'm wide open at impact relative to normal. Now what I don't want to do would be me making the swing where I go up to the top, and the first thing I try and do is get my arms and hands down like this, okay? I don't want to try and yank these things down here before I even open my hips, okay? I've seen some players, and some of you guys are going to inevitably say something, I've seen some players rehearsing that, and some guys that can do that. The only person that would ever think about doing any sort of this working downward motion would be a player who gets their hand path too far out too quick. For like 95% of you, having a sensation of the butt of the club working straight down or having your arms work down in front of you quicker, if you're trying to rotate better, is not a good idea. It's a timing thing. So same thing here. Here's me trying to work my arms and hands down quicker from the top. Good, and that's a pull hook there compared to my normal. So listen, the point of this is just, is a sequence deal. When you're trying to get rotation and get a look of rotation, you're gonna have a very, very difficult time doing that if your arms and hands are the thing that lead from the top, or if you pull the club down too quickly. Now what I wanna do in addition to that, and the piece that can add the speed move, I wanna sort of add a little layer to that. So if I go to the top again, like normal, and let's say my left, we've referenced my left pec and my left bicep, my left pec here at the top. When I come down, I'm not looking for, during my downswing, for this to fly off my chest in the early part of the downswing. If I want to get a little bit more speed, when I come to the top, I almost want to have a sensation that I'm turning my body against my arm. So if you can imagine my arm here, my pec, is a little bit off my chest at the top, my biceps off my pec, and then in transition, I want to feel like my left arm squeezes against my chest before I begin the downswing. That sort of acts as like a catapult of my arm squeezing against it and then launching off. The goal would be go against your chest early and then fly off the chest late. You're not looking for it to fly off your chest early and then connect late. It's connect early and then fly off late. I'll demonstrate one of those. So this is left arm against pec early in transition, feeling like I'm doing that right there. And usually when we do that, that'll increase the speed quite a bit compared to normal. So listen, there's a lot of different drills, again, for these things that you can do. Now, again, in the beginning, I'd like you to be going through these things and just sort of feeling that. So you going up to the top, what does it feel like for me when I rotate my body early and feel like my arms and hands don't come down? Obviously, if you guys watch some of George Gankis' stuff, he puts the stick on the arms at the top and thing along those lines. That works really, really well. And for the greater majority of you, that's going to be a really, really powerful thing in terms of adding speed and adding rotation. A select few of you, may you feel like pulling the arms down in front. Can that help you with certain patterns? Yes, but for the greater majority, no. So those are the two pieces I want you guys to take from this video is, from the top, if you want to increase rotation, your arms and hands have to stay back. It is a race between the two. And number two, as a power move from the top to add some speed, you can let your left arm push against your chest as you begin your downswing phases and use that. And then during the downswing, you can let that arm fly off the chest into the follow through. Those are the two main points here, okay? If you want to shallow that from the top. Again, one more time just to demonstrate. When I do that and I leave my arms and hands there and I do my rotation moves and this pulls against, that shaft is certainly not gonna steepen with that move. That shaft is gonna shallow from there and then I can produce my speed move. So hopefully that all makes sense. Just two concepts I want you guys to see within this video. So practice that, use that a little bit on the range. The goal again for this mostly is speed and ideally to lay that shaft down a little bit more in transition. Hey guys, thank you for watching the video. If you guys like this, please do me a favor and click the like button down below. Click the notification bell if you haven't already, and please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you.